We are solving systems of linear equations by graphing. So in this problem, we've been given two equations. I'll call them line A and line B. Neither of these is in slope-intercept form. These are both in standard form. Standard form is when it's a number times x plus another number times y equals something over here, a constant. So both of these is something x plus something y equals a constant. We've learned two ways to graph these lines. One of them is to graph by finding the intercepts. One of them is to graph by rewriting it into slope-intercept form. So what we're going to do, we're going to first graph line A by finding its intercepts. Then we will graph line B by rewriting it into slope-intercept form. Wherever those two lines cross, we're going to find that point, and that point will be our solution in the end. So this will be our final answer. That's our process. Here we go. The first line, x minus 3y equals 6. We'll write it once there. We'll write it again over here. To find an intercept, we plug in 0 for the other letter. So we'll have x minus 3 times 0 equals 6, or 0 minus 3 times y equals 6. Wherever we plug in the 0, that part of the equation cancels out. A lot of teachers will call this the cover-up method, because wherever you're plugging the 0, it actually just covers up that part of the equation. And then we're left with x equals 6. That's our x-intercept. And we're left with negative 3y equals 6. We have to divide both sides by negative 3, and we get y equals negative 2. That is our y-intercept. It's important to remember these are two different points. So that x equals 6 shows up right there. There's x equals 6. That's the x-intercept. The y equals negative 2 shows up right there. That's the y-intercept. And this is line A. There's our negative 2 right there. So line A, by finding the intercepts, has been graphed. Line B, we could do the same process. It's going to come out to a fraction. So in this one, you might decide to use a different method. This one we're going to graph from standard form by rewriting it into slope-intercept form. To do that, we start by adding the x term over to the other side. Now this is in y equals mx plus b form. This is in our slope-intercept form. Whenever we graph from slope-intercept form, we always start from the y-intercept, 3. Then we use the slope, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and we see that line B goes like this. Now these lines aren't crossing yet because we haven't drawn B the other direction. So if we were going to go up 2 over 1, now we have to go down 2 backwards 1. Down 2 backwards 1. Down 2 backwards 1. And I believe that right there is our point. I didn't draw this line clear enough. This point right here is our solution. What are the coordinates at this point? I believe it's negative 1, negative 2, negative 3 on the x-axis, and also negative 3 on the y-axis. So I believe in this case, these two values came out to be the same. You have two ways to write your final answer. You could write it x equals the answer, y equals the answer, or you could write it as an ordered pair, negative 3 comma negative 3. And if you wanted to, you could check take these values and plug them in. I think if you plug them in, you'll get negative 3 plus 9 is 6. 6 minus 3 is 3. And it will work in both equations.